I think this is in focus. No? Welcome back to another Fellow Drops Brew Guide video. Today we have a coffee from Camber. Look at that lovely, lovely packaging. This is a work of art right here, this bag, but this coffee is also a work of art. So this is a washed Honduras, and for us, we're getting notes of sugarcane, stone fruit, kiwi sweetness. It's definitely a coffee that has a very, I would say, structured and decadent mouthfeel, and that's going to come out great in our filter brew pour over with our Stag X, as well as some fun espresso stuff. Let's get into the brew guide. I'm going to start with pour over first. So we are going to be doing 22 grams in to 350 grams out, 205 degrees Fahrenheit, and the following pours are going to be: pour to 50 grams, bloom for 30 to 45 seconds, pour another 100 grams to 150, pour another 100 grams to 250, and pour another 100 grams to 350. Very straightforward brew guide for pour over. But what we're gonna do today is we're gonna do something a little bit fun. We're going to actually bring out our trusty friend, the shimmy coffee sieve, and this is going to allow us to just sift out some of those fines, and we're actually gonna get a slightly clearer brew. But you don't have to use this to get great results with this coffee. And I think it's definitely worthwhile checking out and seeing if you have a sieve or if you have our shimmy here, just try it. See if you like it with or without. But let's get right into the brew guide. So I am going to pre-wet here. The grind settings I'm going to be using today are, if you're on Ode with SSP, use setting 4. And if you are using normal Ode with stock burrs, you can try setting 2. And I think this coffee is definitely more, I would say, on that medium light territory, but we're using setting 4 and then we're actually sifting some of it out. If you are using coffee sieve like this, what you will want to do is actually updose a little. So if we want 22 grams with our dry dose, we probably need to add around 24, 25 grams and shimmy away or sift away. So I have about 24 grams of coffee here. Adding that in. And what I'm gonna do is I am going to shake it till you make it, shake it till I make it, shake it till this coffee tastes even clearer and tastes even better. Definitely that stone fruit comes out a little bit better with the shimmy. Amazing. So give it a few shakes for probably I would say like 20, 30 seconds. Make sure that you just sieve out all of those fines. You'll definitely see those fines get trapped in the 200 micron filter here. And then the fines will also collect at the bottom of the sifter. So these are all just particles that are going to extract at a different rate because they are really, really fine. Every grinder creates fines. They're not necessarily detrimental to your brew, but I think it's just really fun to experiment between one with and without. With this coffee, I definitely think that stone fruit comes out just a little bit more. There's a little bit more clarity in there, a little bit nicer of a brew, I would say, especially with some of these more medium light coffees. Like if you just want to pull out a little bit more of those flavor notes, it's definitely worthwhile investing in a sieve. Very cool. All right, so now I'm just going to pour my coffee into the Stag X. So, of course, give this all a nice little leveling. But if we take a look here, you'll be able to see some of those fines there that have been sifted out. These are all just kind of particles of coffee grounds that are just going to extract a little bit differently because they're finer than the other ones in here. So you'll often hear about brews stalling. A great way to prevent your brew from stalling is use a sifter. Very cool. All right, let's get right into it. So I am going to begin my first pour. Even concentric circles in and out. And I'm going to pour up to 50 grams here. And once I hit 50, what I'm going to do is I am going to give this a slight little swirl, slight agitation. Going to wait to about 30 to 45 seconds, and then I'm going to pour 100, then 100, then 100. And I did get a question last time where it's, is it letting it drain every single time? And yes, I'm letting the bed drain all the way through before I pour the next 100 grams. All right, so now I'm pouring 100 up to 350 grams. Keep going inside to out. Let that drain through until that bed visually looks dry, and then I'm going to pour another 100. All right, now we pour another 100 grams to 250. Let that drain all the way through, and then we pour a final 100 grams and we're done. All right, now we finally pour our final 100 grams and we end up to 350 grams. Give it a slight swirl at the end. And our total brew time for this coffee has been pretty good, around that 3 to 3:30 total brew time, drain time. And yeah, that's the pour over brew guide. So again, it's optional to use a sieve, but if you do want some of those stone fruit notes to come out a little bit more, just like a nice bump in clarity, this is pretty helpful, especially for your filter brews. All right, so let's go ahead and taste this coffee. Wow, definitely smells really nice. I think this is going to be one of those sweeter coffees that we've dropped recently, and I think this is going to just be quite a fantastic daily sipping coffee, drink it every single day. For me, I definitely have been getting those stone fruits, and it finishes nice and sweet. That's just a really comforting cup here. So in this cup, there's clearly this sugarcane brown sugar finish to it, and it's just nice and sweet. And in the filter brew, pour over brew, especially with the shimmy here, you're getting that slight bump in that acidity from the stone fruit. But overall profile of this coffee, for me at least, is very, very sweet. And that's what makes this a just very lovely coffee to drink day to day. And I think this is a coffee that is going to work pretty well across brewing methods. I am going to show you how to do espresso now, because I've been pulling some shots with this coffee, and I actually think this is a really fantastic coffee for espresso. So let's go ahead and switch over to espresso. This has been a really interesting coffee for me for espresso, because I think for a lot of coffees recently that we've dropped, they are definitely skewing more towards that lighter roast, high clarities, acidic espresso. Like, some people don't really like that, right? Like, this here, I think, is a really great coffee for espresso, because you can indeed get acidity and fun dynamics in your espresso, like that stone fruit. But overall profile of this coffee is nice and sweet, and you can kind of actually pull out some kiwis, I think, if you, like, I do sometimes get a little bit of more of this like kiwi acidity in this if I turbo it, but what's been really cool with this is that you can pull slow shots, like you can pull traditional 1 to 2, 18 in, 36 out. Works really well actually as a base for your milk-based drinks. And you can also pull those faster styles of shots that we've discussed in many of our videos, 18 in, 54 out in like 15, 20 seconds. And you can get shots that just will present the sweetness in a variety of different ways. You can get styles of shots that just present that sweetness in a bit of a different place, but overall body of this coffee has been quite fantastic. So in a traditional style of shot, for me at least, I get that stone fruit, but overall body, overall profile of the coffee is very, very sweet. If you go a faster flow like turbo shot, for example, you do get a shot that finishes sweet. So maybe less so overall profile sweetness, like it's overall going to be a little bit more acidic. You're gonna get some of that stone fruit and kiwi out, but finishes nice and sweet. So to me, this really shows that this is a coffee that is quite flexible when it comes to espresso. And I think that's something that you guys have been waiting to hear for a while. So we're gonna go ahead and pull a shot here. So there are definitely two styles of recipes that I would recommend you try with this. Is do a traditional 18 grams in, 36 out in around 30 to 35 seconds. Then if you want to have some fun and just to see how well this coffee can stand up to faster flow, is go 18 grams in, 54 grams out in around 20 to 25 seconds. Overall, this coffee is still nice and sweet. I do really get that sugar cane and brown sugar taste, but the difference is how that stone fruit acidity is presented. Is that slower flowing shot is definitely going to be more of that brown sugar cane sweetness that's just everywhere in the shot, whereas in the longer ratio, faster flow shot, you do get that stone fruit a bit up front. All right, so let's go ahead and pull a shot. It's definitely going to be on the faster side with this guy. But it holds up, which is fascinating. All right, so I turboed this coffee. So this was actually 52, 53 grams out in about 21 seconds. But it might be hard to see this, but it's like there is a lot of crema. Now, what's been really cool with this coffee is actually, even in these faster flow shots like I did here, I could have actually ground this way finer and pushed that more traditional style shot. In this longer ratio fast flow shot, I actually get a lot of body, and the overall profile of this coffee has been nice and sweet, but you do get presented with that stone fruit up front. And even in this faster flowing style of shot, you get a significant amount of crema, which is really fun if you are into crema. But really fantastic. Like, you really are getting a lot of those sugar cane, brown sugar, just right there in the initial taste of the coffee. Like, you get presented with this stone fruit note, but I would say the finish of it is very brown sugar, sugar cane. And that makes it so that even from an espresso standpoint, it's pretty approachable as a coffee. It's that it's not going to be this punch you in the face with acidity espresso, even when you pull faster flow shots, which is pretty awesome to say. And if you do go for a more traditional 1 to 2, 18 grams into 36 out, you're gonna get a really great espresso with traditional mouthfeel, finishes sweet, and I think it would actually work really well as a base for your milk-based drinks. Definitely a very approachable espresso that is gonna work well across the board in different drinks, as well as straight. And I think it's a really fun coffee to experiment with. It's been a while since we've had a coffee that I think is this flexible. And I think this is going to be a coffee that works really well if you want to just experiment with different brewing methods, different coffee tools, as well as different espresso profiles. So that was Camber's Washed Honduras. Very awesome coffee and lovely, lovely artwork. So thank you again for spending the time to watch today's brew guide video. If you have any questions, please let us know and we'll get back to you. But otherwise, thank you for spending the time to watch today's video, and we'll see you next week.